Tonya, no, Tanya's not. Tanya's not. She's just finishing up with another webinar. Yeah, I sent you both a text and she responded and said she's going to be on another webinar at 7, so probably until 8. And then she's going to get on with us. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already done panels on nutrition, which we've made available, and we did a one on the immune system, which we've made available. And the immune system is more of a prophylactic type of a panel. In other words, giving you ideas on how to keep that immune system up. This is not any kind of an answer to any kind of a problem, but what it does, in fact, is help to boost the immune system. And those are, I guess they're still, I don't know where they are, Kerrin, but you do. So they're somewhere in that maze of all of the different panels that people have written.
Yeah, they're all on the YouTube. Well, all these recorded webinars are on the YouTube Quantum Life YouTube channel, and I'll send a link to that too. But I need your serial numbers so that I can send the panel to you. So please send me your serial number either here in the chat box, and I can send you the panel during the webinar, or afterwards, if you can email it to me, and then I'll send it to you that way.
And as I say, this is a rather simple panel, Kerrin. You know, we don't put any more in here really than you need. You know, more is not always better. Just what you need is probably best. So we're giving you the products that help to increase the nitric oxide in your body.
And what are the benefits of that, Dr. Lou, for those of us that don't have your education?
Well, what the nitric oxide is a vascular dilator, okay, which means that it relaxes the circulatory system. So if you can relax the capillaries, you can relax the arteries. The nitric oxide is actually made in arteries and the veins. You naturally get more blood flow. And if you get more blood flow, that can help to lower blood pressure and at the same carry more oxygen in the hemoglobin. So it really becomes a benefit to people. And that's something we should try to do. We've had great results with that, Kerrin, being able to carry more oxygen into the cells.
Yeah, we all need that, don't we?
We do. And we get it in our diet, but you know, we live in a climate of stress. Everything stresses us. We have this coronavirus to worry about. We've got you know, our income to worry about because many people are not working. We've got a lot of stress right now, and so if we can reduce that stress in any kind of a way, that certainly helps our bodies.
Thank you. And what do you find are the best ways to relieve stress, Dr. Lou?
Well, I mean, one of the best ways, of course, is exercise. That's a good way to do it. Good night's sleep is another way to do it. And then supplementing, you know, and clear thinking. People, you know, people get all wrapped up in what's going on in the world right now. And, you know, it's going to happen whether we worry ourselves with it or concern ourselves with it or not. The best thing we can do is just try to survive this thing and get out there and get back to a normal way of life.
Yeah. So while we're talking, I'm just responding to some people on the chat that are providing me with their serial numbers.
Okay. You know, I think you could say that stress is really interest on a loan that you may never have to repay. So people get out there and they get stressed out about something that they can't do anything about. So, you know, it's better not to be stressed if you can do it, or at least to reduce your stress.
Yeah, it's really important. We have far more resiliency, don't we, when we're managing our stress levels.
Well, you know, a lot of what you do, Kerrin, in the panels that you write are going to be very helpful in doing that, because you take and do affirmations and a lot of things like that that I don't do. What I try to do is give those ingredients that I believe are going to help to do whatever function in the body I'm trying to accomplish. And I don't suggest that you only use the quantum field. I suggest that you follow there's very few supplements that you need. The big one would be L-arginine, and some foods. So the foods we commonly eat anyway. So we can, if we improve our diet and take a little example from what I've given you here, you're going to find that that helps increase the nitric oxide, and also then, widen or broaden the vessels in the body, blood vessels.
Yeah. I know, and it's very important that we do take the supplements, because like you were saying earlier, Dr. Lou, we just don't have the nutrients in the soil that we used to have.
We don't. We truly don't, Kerrin. I know I live up here in the mountains, and this land, this farmland, which was so rich years ago, has been subjected to rain, and the nutrients wash into the creeks and go out into the rivers and end up in the ocean. And at the same time, we've poisoned the land with Roundup and other types of things that actually have killed all the microflora, and living organisms in the soil. So we might replace some things like nitrogen and some other things to make our crops look good, but they're lacking those trace minerals that are so important. And we can get that, of course, from sea vegetables and fulvic humic acid and some other things.
Yeah. Well, your soil is pretty rich, though, isn't it? Because
well, to some extent. I mean, if you can imagine, we have grown tobacco on here, and I haven't. We've grown a lot of tomatoes on here, and both of them are intense in being sprayed. Okay, you have to spray them all because they get a lot of pests, pests on them. Now that wouldn't happen so much if the soil was good. I mean, when you have rich soil and you grow crops, the pests really usually go after the unhealthy plants, not the healthy plants.
Yeah. Can you use natural pesticides to do that, to achieve that, or not?
Can you use, what is that?
Natural pesticides?
Natural, yeah, you can use natural pesticides. It takes a little bit more effort. So, the older people here kind of go back to what they've always done, and that's to use the pesticides that they buy. Some of the younger people that are coming in here now will try to be all natural. I mean, we have young people here. One of the guys here, he took from his property acorn meal, black walnut, and honey from his hives, and he made this delicious kind of, sort of like that Guinness bread I sent you, and it was great. So acorn flour, black walnut flour, and honey that comes from his hives. So we try. The younger people are trying. I mean, they want to be self-sufficient, and they try to get away from some of the things that the older people have done.
Yeah, I know the younger permaculturists, they seem to be coming up with some great ideas, very genius ideas to do things naturally and very effectively.
Right, and I think it's a good thing. It's when you get to see these younger people and how they love the land and how they love to do things naturally. And then you look at the older people and, the diseases that they've had, how they've come down with certain things. And, you really don't want to have to do that as you age. We're going to get on here with Dr. Bruce one of these times, and we're going to talk about anti-aging. And we're going to talk about some of the things you can do and how you can really reverse the clock. So you can be, your birth certificate might say you're one age, but your biology says you're somewhat younger. So that's what we want to see happen. Yes,
Dr. Bruce specializes in anti-aging, doesn't he?
It's one of the things. He and I have done some research together on that. And what we'll do is when we have the opportunity, maybe we can find a night that there isn't a webinar going on, or maybe one that's a little later so that he can get in on it. He's still practicing. So if we could, then he and I and Tonya could get on there and get into anti-aging, and in a natural way, rather than taking pharmaceuticals, some of the things you can do naturally. Astragalus plays a big part in anti-aging.
Yeah, that would be great. So
that'd be wonderful.
Oh, because Dr. Bruce is here. He's in California, isn't he? I forgot. He's on the same time.
Yeah, he's in Riverside, California.
Yeah, so it's still 5 p.m.
Yeah, well, he wanted to be on this evening. He called me this afternoon and said that he had to be with people this evening. So anyway, you got me.
Yeah, well, that's great. We love you, Dr. Lou, and we greatly appreciate you and what you share with us. So, so let's get started. And so thank you all for joining us. Welcome to Frequency Friday with Dr. Lou. And we do have a free panel here that we'd like to share with you. So please send your serial number. For those of you that don't know how to find your serial number, you just go into your custom panels. And there is information, I'm going to put it, it's on the Quantum Life website, so I'm going to copy and paste it and put it in the chat box. It's very easy to find the serial number, so you can just copy and paste it here or send it to me by email, and I will gladly send you this panel that we are making tonight. And Dr. Lou has created this, and I'm actually just still in the process of making it. So you can watch me make it while you're listening to Dr. Lou. And,
well, Kerrin, you know, this may be disappointing to somebody because it's not very complicated. And if I can make a panel that's not complicated, doesn't mean it's not effective. So what I did was I went through supplements, okay, that are known to be effective to help create this nitric oxide, which actually relaxes the circulatory system, relaxes the capillaries, relaxes the veins, relaxes the arteries, so that they don't have the stress, they don't constrict. And if they don't constrict, then more blood is able to flow through these different, the circulatory system. And if that happens, so we're now carrying more oxygen in the hemoglobin because we have more flow going to the cells. And that becomes great because it reduces stress. Stress is a problem, and stress is what causes elevated blood pressure. And so if we can help with that, if we can lower that, then all that much more blood gets into the cells and does its job. So I've been chosen to do it in two ways. I suggest to everybody that they use the Quantum Infinity and run this program. And at the same time, I also suggest that they take serious the fact that the supplements are there, available, and you'll see a list of them on there. And of course, the one that I really prefer is L-arginine. And you know, if you take that, in addition to using the panel, you're going to get a tremendous benefit. You not only need to get the benefit of the supplement, but don't forget, supplements have to go, first of all, through the digestive tract, okay? Then supplements have to go through the circulatory system, and they have to be delivered to the cells individually. They have to connect, they have to find a receptor on that cell that is willing to accept them, and then they have to get into the body. Well, we can speed that process up. We can get more bang for our buck if we use the quantum field. What we found that the information that is in the quantum field allows the body to recognize that particular supplement to a greater extent, because information, the quantum field is information. Information passes through the quantum field directly into your cell, and it avoids that digestive system, it avoids the circulatory system, it avoids the receptors on the cell, and goes directly to work in the cell. So what's going to happen, we've all got these ingredients already in our body, but if we begin to supplement, we're going to get more of it. And at the same time, Kerrin, what we're able to do is to boost the benefit. It's now like we begin to supercharge that particular supplement. The same thing with the foods. You know, we all eat food, and of course, food is what keeps us going. But the quantum field, again, has the perfect picture or the perfect information of what a watermelon should look like, or what meat should look like, any kind of meat, or nuts, or seeds, or leafy greens, or dark chocolate. All of these things help to produce nitric oxide. And so I believe it's important. I believe that this is a step in the right direction, irregardless of whatever else we do. So we're going to give it to you in little bits and pieces. In other words, we're not going to go out there and you have to swallow a whole elephant. All you have to do is do little bits and pieces in these short programs or panels that I write, which are never very complicated. They're just the basic ingredients that I feel as though the body needs, both you know, on a supplemental basis and at the same time in the quantum field. So we do that. So we write these short little panels, and then we give them to people who attend these meetings, and at the same time we answer any of their questions. So the basic premise of this thing is to increase oxygen levels or oxygen saturation in your body. And it couldn't be a whole lot more simple than that. Kerrin, do I have any questions?
Let's take a look. No, not yet.
Okay,
No,
is Tonya with us yet?
no, she's not.
Okay.
She'll be,
Anyway.
she'll be on soon.
What's that? I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, Tonya will be joining soon. She's probably just getting off her webinar, the other webinar right now.
Right. So you're going to find a general thread through the programs that I'm writing, the panels that I'm writing. And what I'm trying to do is introduce people to what they can do for their health in a simple way. So these are not generally very complicated programs. They're really kind of simple, but they work. And so if we can do that, we're gonna see improvements. And the big thing that makes me happy is when I get to hear some testimonies of how people have improved. And that's what I'm really looking for. You know, we're gonna make a habit of doing these panels, and they're going to have that common thread. We're going to do an anti-aging panel. I don't know what else we've got lined up, but Kerrin, you can tell me what you'd like, and that's what I'm going to kind of do. You know, I'm going to write these and have them one a week on Friday, and you can invite friends, and you're doing them a real favor if they have the Quantum Infinity or the Genius to use these panels. Because they will be simple. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have complicated ones. You can't have ones that are specifically designed for certain problems, which we would be more than happy to do. But they take more effort and more time, and we can adjust. I can address things individually. You know, all these fancy names you hear have answers, so we can go out there and begin to make those types of programs as well.
Yeah, we will be making a lot more panels in the future, and they will be, like Dr. Lou said, very extensive panels. Unfortunately, they won't be free.
Well, you know, you can spend a good part of, you know, a simple panel like this you can do in no time, basically. But when you get more complicated, Kerrin, there's a lot of research involved, and we have to look, you know, a cutting edge. Sometimes that research requires even talking to other people, you know, in different parts of the country. Who are doing this research, and we don't try to step on their toes, but what we're actually doing is taking that information, because in the quantum field is all about information. It exists, and we can call that information down, and we can call that information and direct it, no matter where you are. That can reach you. The quantum field's every place, and what happens here, right here where I am. So I'm interacting with everybody, not over the telephone, but in our energy fields. So we have a marvelous tool, Kerrin, that we can use that I believe is the new, well, it's kind of like Star Trek medicine, but the new type of, well, I don't know how to even say it, the future. We hold the future now in our hand, and many of you have used it in the Quantum Infinity and are beginning to use it in the Genius. And, you know, you get incredible results if you know how to use that, the Quantum Infinity, at least I am. And I'm finding that it is accurate, so that we are now being able to identify problems, sometimes that are existing and sometimes before they even become an issue. We see them, and we can take preventative measures.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Lou. There's one item here you've got under garlic. It says eats. Beetroot, dark chocolate, garlic, and eats. Is there anything specific I should put there?
I must have garlic is just probably that shouldn't be there, Kerrin. That was early
Oh,
this morning
okay.
when I did that.
Oh.
Just take it out.
All
Yeah,
right.
you know, I got that done early this morning because of other things I had to do. But you know, basically any food that's high in nitrogen is going to help to boost the nitric oxide in the body.
Okay.
So consider, Kerrin, you know, that we've got this cutting edge tool now, and you and I can work together. You know, you can put together affirmations. I can put together product or knowledge, and we run them in concert, okay? Because people have to, you have to feel good to be good. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to feel good about everything else. And you can't be dragged. I always tell everybody it's a whole lot easier to be pulled down than it is to lift people up. So you can easily get pulled down, but it's a tough job to lift people up sometimes.
It is, because they need to do it. It needs to come from them, doesn't it? And that not everyone is, you know, in a place where they're fully ready to do that. You know, they might still be healing. They might still be in a process, you know, where they're not quite at a point where they are ready to do that. Like with grieving, I mean, we all know we've all grieved. You know, nobody can do it for us. We have to, you know, we have to take the responsibility to do that ourselves. And only at a certain point, when we've completed that process, you know, are we ready to fully embrace the teachings?
And that's not an easy process, I can assure you. I've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes time, and everybody does it in their own way.
Yeah. Okay, so panel is complete. I'm glad to say. Now, just wanted to read here what you have, Dr. Lou, for nitric oxide, and I will share this with all of you too. What Dr. Lou has provided us with in terms of information for this panel. But I'm just going to read it out quick. It says nitric oxide is made in the arteries to lower blood pressure and improve blood flow to organs. Since it is a vasodilator, it widens or relaxes the arteries so that more blood can flow through, therefore lowering the pressure within the arterial system.
And so, Kerrin, if you extrapolate that, if you lower the pressure in the arteries, you're also going to lower the pressure in the capillaries. And those are kind of narrow, where sometimes just maybe one red blood cell can get through at a time, and they struggle. The word that they use, that we like to use, is a glutenate. They get plugged up, and nothing or very little gets through. So if you can make that capillary or artery able to relax, is what we're trying to do, mm-hmm. then the blood flow is smoother and can go through there. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Great. Thank you. So for those of you that don't know, I'm just going to quickly go through the process here, Dr. Lou. I don't know, can you see the screen? Or you just called in, right? Dr. Lou, you're not on your computer. You just called in by phone, right?
Me? Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that can see the screen, there's a few people on the call that are not sure how to get the serial number. So I'm just going to quickly go through the process here. So you go to your client records, and this is how you would create. So first you need to create the profile to receive the panel. So in the top box for first name, you would put 3 capital A's and then a space. And then I'd already put Dr. Lou anti-aging because I thought that's what we were doing this week, Dr. Lou.
Okay.
So what we could do is just add to it next week. How would that work though? Because then people would have 2 panels. Or let's just keep this one as anti-aging because I already created it, and then we'll think of something else to call next week's. So we put Dr. 3 capital A's in a space, and then Dr. Lou, but not apostrophe S. That's what messed it up last week. I didn't realize we cannot use apostrophes. So just Dr. Lou anti-aging, last name panel, today's date, and then for identifying characteristics, we have to put something in that box. So I put premature aging, and then you can load your own image, or I can find one and send it to you in an email with the recording from this webinar. And then you go to Start, no to Avatar. You can put a personalized signature if you want to. I'm just going to do no because I just want to get to the panel. Do you want to add new items? Yes. And then you look for the panel that you just created. So it will be this one here, Dr. Lou, anti-aging. So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to send this to Pam because I have, Pam has sent me her her serial number here, and Tammy. Tammy, I'll send you yours here too. Thank you for sending that. Just so that I can demonstrate how to get your customized panel. Now you would click on import because you're importing a panel, but I'm going to demonstrate here how to export. I'm going to export these two panels so you can watch me do it. But if you click on import, you'll see your serial number, and that never changes. So you just click on copy, and then you can paste that to me, and I'm just going to put my phone number here so that you can just text it to me now if you want to, and I'll just send it to you. Or you can email it, but that's your serial number. That's how to find your serial number. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to click on these. Now, when you click on the categories, all the subcategories are automatically highlighted. Sue just sent me a message, said her Zoom just all of a sudden disappeared. So I'm not sure what happened there, but let me just quickly respond to Sue. Okay, so oh, Dr. Louise said Dr. Rich. Oh, Dr. Rich is on. Shall I unmute?
Rich.
Yeah, let me just unmute. Hi, Dr. Rich,
Hey,
how are you?
Doing great, thank you. And Linda's on the other line too.
Oh, great.
Hello, Linda.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Your friend Sue, Dr. Lou, is having a hard time getting on. I'm not quite sure why, but let me just quickly.
Hello, Sue. How are you?
She's not on yet. It's on the email. So.
Dr. Rich, what we're doing right now is we're showing how to export a panel, the panel that I wrote. Kerrin is sending to some of the people who are attendees on this meeting, and they're receiving this with no cost, and then they'll have it in their library to be able to run as often or as long as they want. And the panel that we created this evening or this morning is for nitric oxide, how to increase oxygen uptake to the cells.
Yeah, I've got, like I said, Linda's on the phone at her house, and I'm on Zoom right now watching Kerrin type everything in.
Okay.
Well, I'm texting to Sue.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dr. Lou has too slow a connection up here for any kind of video
Well,
stuff.
that's Linda's problem too. That's why she's on the speakerphone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get back to the Infinity. So I'm going to click on export, and I'm going to type in Pam's number here. So C65 1.5. I just want to give everyone a quick demonstration on how to do this. 0, 3D. Yeah, Sue's having a hard time getting on, but everybody else managed to get on, so I'm not quite sure how to help Sue. She just needs to figure it out.
Well, I can't help her right now myself. You know, Dr. Rich and I and Linda have worked in the quantum field to some extent.
Yes.
And we've had wonderful benefits. Isn't that correct, Dr. Rich?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and Linda has. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Linda, would you like to elaborate on your experience with essential oils?
Yes. I actually.
Thank you.
Oil. I can't tell you which one I'm smelling. I don't have the greatest sense of smell to begin with. I had a horrendous sinus infection a long time ago, and it just left me with my sense of smell not being as good as it used to be. But anyway, I can actually smell essential oils. But the other thing is, Dr. Lou, I'm not sure I told you about this. I always run the weight loss. I don't know if it's weight loss, but it's for weight. And when it runs out, if I forget to put it back on, I actually my appetite increases. It's really kind of strange. I mean, it really. So in other words, I don't have cravings when it's running. I just eat, normally. But whenever it's not running, then these old cravings start to come back, and I can't. It's interesting. Anyway.
So what Linda's saying is we're gonna develop a panel for weight loss. Okay. When we do the weight loss panel, when that panel is running, her appetite decreases. If she has turned off that panel, then her appetite increases. And when she mentions the fact that she smells the essential oils, when the program with essential oil runs, she can smell them. She can't differentiate which oil it is that she's smelling. But if she turns off that panel or turns off that information in the quantum field, then she no longer smells the essential oils. So this is how strong, or this is how the information in the quantum field is passed on. It's kind of like unusual. I mean, it's everywhere, at every time, in every place, affecting every one of us. And as I mentioned earlier, that we are connected not only through the Zoom meeting, but also we are connected in the field. I say the field, kind of like Star Wars, but the field, because we are interacting no matter how far apart we are in the quantum field. So that's what's so cool about this. We can write these panels, and no matter where you are, you can turn that quantum infinity on, load up that panel, and you'll have the benefit. It knows you directly. It'll interact with you, interface with you directly. And that's what we're going to start to do. We're going to do more of it. So another one that we'll write is the weight loss panel, and see what we can come up with there and see if we get benefits. The real thing we're looking for is people to tell us the experience that they have. And then we can fine tune these things actually and get them to get them to work even better.
Yeah.
So that all depends on you guys. I mean, it depends, this is not only a Dr. Lou thing. This is Dr. Lou and everybody on this call.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to quickly text the Zoom link again to Sue.
So have you been able to export the panel and somebody be able to import it, Kerrin?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So far I've sent it to Pam. Oh, thank you, David. David just sent me his serial number.
And hello, Pam. How are you?
Let me unmute a few people so that we can.
Hi, Dr. Lou. I'm fine. How are you this evening?
I'm great. Have you run that digestive panel that I put together?
Yes, I have, and it has helped. Thank you so much.
Tell me a little bit about what it's done.
Usually when I eat, I experience a lot of discomfort in my stomach. burning, pain, things like that. And once I run the panel, it seems like it kind of calms all that down to where it's not creating the acid reflux, and the discomfort and the pain is starting to go away.
Great. So we will continue to do more things and possibly add some more ingredients. If not to that, maybe an advanced version of it. And that's wonderful. That's what I want to hear, Pam.
Oh no, you guys are great. You're awesome. I am a firm believer.
There might be a few people that disagree with that, but who knows?
No, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate it, because I'm what's called a podorthist, so I take care of people's feet. So this is a whole other realm for me.
Well, maybe I should do something on feet, do you think, or what?
That would be great. Maybe you two could team up and create a panel.
Well,
Possibly.
I could do that. I mean, I could create a panel for you for feet, and also create a sale for you for the quantum infinity. So I could do that if you like.
Well, we might have to talk about that.
How about anybody else? Anybody else have comments on some of the panels I've written?
Yeah,
Don't be shy.
Please unmute yourself, because we'd like to make these webinars interactive, and Dr. Lou is happy to answer your questions.
Well, we're going to get more and more positive interaction, I think, Kerrin, as people get to use these things more and more. And what I'd really like to hear is what people would like for me to write. I mean, we've talked about anti-aging. We've talked about, sleep. Would you like something to help you improve sleep? We can do that. And I don't know what else. Those are the two comments that came up out of the previous calls we've had.
Maybe something for inflammation or fibromyalgia might be a good
Well,
one.
now you're getting into specifics, okay? And that becomes a more complicated thing to do, but we can do it. So it's not we probably won't call it that, but we can put that together. That's for sure.
Because that would,
Either one of those.
Well,
you know.
Hey, Dr. Lou, Linda has something she'd like to say.
Go ahead, Linda.
Well, I think it's very timely to have something for the immune system with what's going on.
I've already done that.
You've
Yeah,
done that.
I did an immune panel, Linda. Was probably the first one I did. And it's a prophylactic panel. It's in other words, it's to boost the immune system before there's an issue. So I know you weren't on that call, but I did that, 2 weeks ago, I think, or whatever.
yeah, 2 weeks
So
ago.
yeah, we have one, and we are constantly improving. My as you know, Linda, because you know me, my goal is to make available to people what they need and where the issues are. And we just heard a couple of them. Swelling is a big problem. Rich, Dr. Rich, and I know that virtually inflammation is the cause of all the problems. So we want to address that directly.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody else? Anybody else got a comment? Is Tonya on here yet?
Not yet.
Well, we want to address those issues that people want. So if anybody would like anything, Kerrin, write them down. So you've heard 2 requests and a bonus one for feet. So that's going to take a little thinking them on, but we can probably do it.
Well,
and,
plantar fasciitis is one.
What is it?
Plantar fasciitis, it's pain in the tendon.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
that neuropathy, because a lot of people,
Neuropathy.
older folks get neuropathy where they get the burning, tingling, and numbness in their feet. And
That's a big one.
And they can't get it to go away. So unless
Yeah,
they
I
put
know.
them on medicines and things. So
Are you talking about circulatory or diabetic?
diabetic neuropathy.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Neuropathy is neuropathy. It's no fun from what I understand. I don't have it, but it's no fun in the people that I see that do have it. So that's something we can address. Write them down, Kerrin. Just give me some food for thought.
Sorry, I'm multitasking here, but it's good. Keeps me brain active. Okay.
Somebody write them down so you
What
can
are
get
the-
back to me with them.
Okay, so we've got feet. What were the other two?
Well, she's talking about specific problems and neuropathy.
Neuropathy. Oh,
In
that would be a
general,
great one. Yeah. My brother is a psychiatric doctor, and I was speaking with him today about that, actually. So yeah, we could ask him to help us with that too. So feet neuropathy.
It doesn't have to only be the feet. You know, people get that numbness and tingling in their hands too. So it doesn't just have to be.
No, they get it all different kinds
Oh.
of places.
Thank you, Tammy. Tammy just wrote, so inflammation, arthritis, and diabetes. Great, thank you.
Well, we won't call them any of those names. We'll come up with a panel that fits we don't want to cross over into the medical field. Those are all medical terms.
I do. Well, Brenda and Sharon will love you, Dr. Lou. They created a class.
Well, somebody likes me anyway. We can address all that, but we can't do it in medical terms. Okay, so
Exactly.
you know when I talk
Oh,
about
okay.
yeah, it has to be more general, but you'll get the picture.
Yeah, Brenda and Sharon created a class called Legalities of Biofeedback, and it's all about that. It's all about keeping ourselves safe, and you know what's safe to say, what's not safe to say. And I'm sure Tonya will have a lot to say about that too, being a nurse. So I've just sent Tonya the link, so hopefully she should be getting on any minute now.
You might describe who Tonya is. I mean, she's got a lot of qualifications.
So Tonya does, she does 2 webinars each week, Tuesday on the Quantum Infinity, Thursday on the Genius. Tonya is still practicing as a nurse, and Tonya creates custom panels too. And Dr. Lou and Tonya are going to team up. What a dynamic team those two will be, huh? So very much looking forward to that. Oh, David's saying no data found. Okay, so if I thought it was a small, when the codes that are generated, if you don't copy and paste them, if you just type them in to send to somebody, you never know if a small L is a capital I, or vice versa. And there's another one too, I can't remember what it is. So,
And I never get those right, Kerrin. When you and I try to do stuff back and forth, I never get that. Never get it right.
That's why it's always best to copy and paste rather than type it in. Tonya, hi. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonya?
Thank you for having me. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. We know you've just got off a webinar and you're really busy and you're helping so many people right now. So thank you so much for being able to jump on with us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Tonya. Dr. Lou, how are you?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, Tonya, tonight we're talking about nitric oxide and increasing the uptake of oxygen into the cells. We're talking about relaxing the arteries, relaxing the capillaries, so more blood can flow through that. Do you have any input on that? What do you think? You think that's a good idea?
I do, sir. And nitric oxide, we use a lot. And I was surprised when you said that the other.
Are you there?
Oh, somehow Tonya got muted.
Yeah, Tonya and I talked about that a few days back. And Tonya, can you hear me?
Not
Well,
sure.
my goal, okay, and she does more with it, you know, in person than I can do on a panel. But my goal, Tonya, has been to make it a simple panel and to touch the basics. Use those few supplements that I feel are really important, and some of the foods that people eat anyway. And these things actually help to increase the nitric oxide levels in the body. So I'd like to get her input on what she's doing and how we can collaborate and even make these things better. Do we lose Tonya? All the marvelous technology we have and it doesn't work.
Yeah. No, Tonya is still on. But I'm trying to unmute Tonya, but it's not unmuting. So maybe Tonya's doing something right now, but Tonya will unmute when she's able to, I'm sure. So would anybody else like to unmute and speak with Dr. Lou while we're waiting for Tonya to come back?
I have a question for you, Dr. Lou. With the
Okay.
nitric oxide, it opens up the blood vessels. Is that a problem when you're on blood thinners and things like that?
No, not if you
medicine?
do it in the quantum field. Now, if you are on blood thinners, I don't know that I'd go out and get the supplements for that. But you know, because they're going to be considerably stronger. But in the quantum field, your body is going to take what it needs, okay, and not take what it doesn't need.
Okay.
So it's a whole different ball game. You know, if you can imagine, there's a perfect amount for you, okay, and
Right.
then there's a perfect amount for me, and each of us has a different perfect amount. I don't know what it is. You know, I have no way to know exactly. I mean, when you go and take a supplement, you usually generally take, unless somebody tells you what to do, you usually take it by the label. But who knows, really, in reality, what you actually need. Do you need 2,500 IU or do you need 5,000 IU or something? It's hard to know unless you get muscle tested or something to that effect, or somebody prescribes it, or you go by the label. So, you know, part of my job is not to prescribe. I'm not doing that. I don't treat, and I don't diagnose. So
Right.
all we're doing is providing information right now that you can use and that you can research if you choose, and then you make the determination and the decision on using the panels that we provide. But I've not had I don't know that I've ever had a complaint on a panel or on information from the quantum field. So it's a unique thing. I mean, it's just, people just start to understand it. And I can't claim that I'm an expert on this, but we are seeing good results. You heard Linda, you heard Doc Rich, and others on here. You heard Pam. So anybody else got a testimony?
Yeah, we love these testimonials. Keep them coming.
Yeah, testimonials is what it's all about. I mean, if we can get people to tell us their experience, okay, either positive or negative, then we can adjust to that. And at the same time, people are going to hear it and going to be able to relate to it. And we can get a community of people going so that we can understand better how to use this.
Hey, Dr. Lewis, Dr. Rich.
Yeah, Dr. Rich.
One comment, and we've both experienced this in a previous endeavor where you did an energy panel, and as we promoted that, we had complaints from people. Our fault because we forgot to tell them they had to turn it off at night. People were waking up.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? We said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Don't leave it go 24 hours because you'll stay awake all night." And we had that complaint. We figured it out. So you might want to comment on it.
Yeah, and so that's why we need the feedback, okay? Because we can put something together. If somebody requests this and we put it together, like Dr. Rich said, we put it together for energy. Well, they don't turn it off. You know, they want energy. They don't turn it off. So at night, they're running energy when they should be running sleep. So we have to be aware of actually what we're doing. And you would say to yourself, how can that happen? How does that happen? All I do is turn this thing on, and it impacts my life. How? Well, you know, I can't say that I understand it totally, but we're trying to figure it out. And we're getting closer. So in the meantime, we write these things, or we do these and try to get the results that we're looking for.
So we had to manage that because we had people doing the energy, not turning it off. But then we also had people turning the sleep mode on at night and forgetting to turn that off in the morning.
In the morning, right. So it can, yeah, I mean, and it doesn't affect everybody that way. You know, we don't want you to
No.
think that it does,
The
but
fact is
it's
it works.
designed.
It
What we're
works.
doing
Yeah.
is we're trying to impact the body in positive ways. And sometimes, you know, we're not realizing that some people are more affected than other people by what goes on in the field around them, the information field around them. So we have to get these. That's why we asked for feedback, and we got feedback from Pam today. That was good. We need that. Now we know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm still multitasking here. So David is just asking for put the code correct, David, and then click OK. All right. So would anybody else like this panel while we're still on the webinar? Just please just send me your serial number in the chat box, and it literally takes a minute to generate a code. So
this is a short one, Kerrin. I didn't count how many ingredients are in this panel, but there's not a lot.
no, but it's still very effective.
Well, you know, you hear it. You hear Dr. Rich, and you hear Linda particularly, and now you heard Pam, and you realize that they are having an impact. Yeah. Well, people are going to continue to have an impact. So we really want to know what that impact is. So that gives us the opportunity to go on and do more and effective things. So we have an idea now on a few things that people want to hear or see, I mean. And so we will get involved in that over the next weeks. I can't say what the next week is going to be, Kerrin. I don't know. I kind of like to do that anti-aging, but I really want Dr. Bruce to be able to come on board with me.
That would be great, yeah. And if maybe you two could speak before next Friday and create the panel and just send me the items and I can create it for you.
Yes, but I don't know whether he can be on. I'd like him to be on with me when we do that one. Because he did most of the work on it, more than I did. Yeah. So,
well, what we could do is maybe get on a call, the three of us, and then come up with the items, and I can create the panel prior to the webinar next week, so that it's ready to give to people that are joining us on the webinar.
I can address it, but why not go to the guy who's more expert than I am on it?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it may have to be done on another call at some other time.
Yeah.
I don't know his schedule because he's still practicing, and it may have to be at a later time in the evening because he's California time, and I'm of course Eastern. But whenever we can do it, I think the combination of he and I addressing that, particularly Dr. Bruce, because he's the guy who did it, not me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if we can do that over the next.
Maybe a special call, or at a later hour or something like that. I'd be happy to do that. Okay. Back to any questions. We have any more questions? Any more comments? Any more anything?
Well, Tammy's asking. I'm hoping I can share this, Tammy. Would you be willing to share your energy panel?
Well, yeah, we have to create it, and then of course we can do that. Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you. And then I'm thinking you and Tonya would make a great team too in creating panels. Let's see if Tonya. Sure. Okay, Tonya might be busy right now because Tonya's taking care of a lot of people, and some have the coronavirus. So I think Tonya is busy helping somebody right now, but she's on. Tonya's still, but she's muted, so she must be busy taking care of somebody. So maybe she'll join us before the end of the webinar. Does anybody else have any more questions for Dr. Lou or anything to share? Any more testimonials? Quantum is such a diverse topic. If you would like to share more about that, Dr. Lou, so, I mean, it's hard for us all to get our head around how it works. We just know it works because we've experienced it. But do you have any more information about how it works?
Well, if I knew how it worked, then I'd be up there with Albert Einstein. I'm not sure I can tell you how it works. but I know what it does, and I don't know why it does what it does, but I've seen it in action, okay? So I've gotten to the point where I don't question as much what it is or why it is or how it works, but I recognize the fact that it does. And so I don't lose energy trying to go to places that I'm not really capable of understanding. But so I can tell you about my experiences, okay? And, you know, I began not in the quantum field, but in energetic field, you know, where we were using more frequency and less quantum. And what I did was I had a clinic that I dealt with people all over the country and in some parts of the world. I would actually do energetic workups on practitioners, you know, in all different modalities, medical doctors, osteopaths, chiropractors, and all different massage therapists and everybody else, and do a energetic workup before the practitioner generally would see their patient, or they saw the patient. I would take a look at them and come up and try to find energy blockages. And guess what? That would send that practitioner, whatever type they were, to specific areas. And we were able to do a lot of balancing before the practitioner even would see that client. We would know, we could tell them what they would need in terms of supplements or homeopathy or whatever it might be to solve that issue. And sometimes it was as simple as good water, you know, just good pure water is all you needed. They were drinking what I would consider polluted water because it had was high in fluorides or high in chlorine or other types of things. So from that, you know, I back in 2013, I sold that clinic off, kind of semi-retired, and got involved in the quantum field in a roundabout way. And then it occurred to me, well, here now I have the opportunity to be able to help people no matter where they are in the world and without any kind of physical connection. What's wrong with that? So, you know, you're at first skeptical and you say to yourself, well, you know, I'm not so sure this is going to work. But as I got involved in it, and Dr. Rich and Linda are testimonies to that, they got involved in it too, we began to see results that almost, you know, were kind of mind-boggling because we were doing things without any physical connection. And you wonder how that can happen. You know, I ran Quantum Infinity on people. Now, I'm not in practice right now, but I ran Quantum Infinity on people, friends, family, and others, and got to identify issues that I should have known. And how I knew them, I don't know. How the thing worked, how the quantum field works to identify those, I'm not quite sure. But it does work. And so maybe as we get deeper into this and we do more and more, we'll get a better handle on the ins and outs of it. But it just is unique because in the quantum field, what happens now here happens everywhere at the same time, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But information passes, could be anywhere in the universe, and it's instantaneous. How does that happen? You're going faster than the speed of light. You know, it's amazing. But it is a fact. And we are now starting to see more and more of it. So I'm going to continue to work in an area that I don't totally understand yet. I don't think anybody does. Until we can define it and refine it to the point where we get consistent results. And that's what I'm looking for. And that's why I'm asking the questions. I thank Pam, I thank Rich, I thank Linda, all these people for giving me responses so we know what we're doing is working. We know that if we begin to do some other things and we work on this more and more, the more response we get back, the better we're going to make this, we're going to be able to use it in a more effective way. So that's my goal. You know, I'm retired pretty much, and I've got the time to work on it. But I'm tickled that I am making a difference.
You are.
I hope that answers the question, Kerrin.
Yeah. Thank you. And
Tonya, let me tell you again. Because a panel is not large and incorporate many things doesn't mean it's not effective. It's been my goal, okay, to use the fewest things to get the maximum benefit. And I did that whether I did it with supplements or homeopathy or whatever it might be. The fewer things to get the most benefit.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Quality, not versus quantity.
Yeah, not a lot of things, just what it takes, okay? And then your body will fill in the blanks, okay?
I know our bodies are highly intelligent. They know what's needed and what's not. And I'd like to do a class actually sometime on the alignment of the high self-conscious self and basic self. And I know that you've worked a little bit with that, Dr. Lou, haven't you? The unconscious and subconscious.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how that works.
Everything. We control the consciousness, but we don't control the subconscious. And 95% of the time we run in the subconscious. So we react, okay? The programming that we had in our youth, and maybe the first 6 or 7 years, determines how we react to a situation. So often, we might come from a family that their idea of sitting at the dining room table was to yell and scream. And so that carries on to us. Or perhaps, you are never going to amount to anything. You're no good. You're not this, you're not that. It's tough. We have to go back now in there in the subconscious and reprogram those tapes because we're all worthy. And sometimes we don't realize it because the subconscious is controlling our life. And we want to get in there and be in control of our life. So we have to go in and make some changes often, or most of the time. Now, the conscious, of course, is, where you want to live some of the time. Or most of the time, because you want to make rational decisions. And often, people with money, you can be a real dumblutz, okay, and still make money because your family always made money. And you don't know the reason why you're successful, but you are, even though you really don't have a clue. And then people who have clues don't make the money because their families never did. And somehow that's inbred in us. I don't know how it happens, but it does. If you want more on that, go listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Yes. Yeah. Biology of belief. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, all of this is incorporated into what we're trying to accomplish. And, it takes, it's many modalities, many different people. Everybody contributes.
Dr. Lou, you got it?
Yes.
Finally.
Tonya?
This is Sue.
Oh, hi, Sue.
Oh, yay,
How are you?
Sue. Hi, I'm glad you got on.
I think Zoom has me blacklisted.
Oh, no.
So,
What can I help you with, Sue?
Would you be so kind as to go over the differences between frequency and quantum energy again?
Oh, thank you. I know I'd love to learn more about that.
Well, frequency, Sue, is the simple way to describe that is frequency is something you can measure. A quantum field, you can't measure. Do you understand that?
That makes sense.
We can read frequency, okay? And frequencies come in all different types of things. Generally using a frequency, you might check between 40,000 hertz and 1.8 million hertz because a lot of organic material resides in those frequencies. When you go to the quantum field, we can't put a number on it because we don't know what the number is because there is no number. A quantum field is information. It's not frequency. So when we talk to the quantum field, or one way to say it, we kind of think the way Plato did, because Plato thought everything, if you had a ball that was round, there's a perfect ball somewhere in the universe, and this is just a representation of the perfect ball with imperfections. So it's a little bit more difficult to try to understand the quantum field. I'm not a mathematician or a quantum scientist, so I don't pretend to know exactly how it works, but I use it because it does work, if that makes sense.
Just
I know
like
that's
me
not an
using my car. Just like me using my car that I don't understand.
Exactly. Only even a little bit more remote and hard to think about because your car can't be everywhere at the same time, but the quantum field can.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lou.
Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
It surely does.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, Tammy and I, Tammy and I were chatting privately here while you were talking about the subconscious and unconscious. I think we were both thinking, there's a custom panel for that. So maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
that might be more something that you would do, Kerrin, but you and I could do to work on something like that.
I would love to.
Yeah, I don't know all of the different areas. I mean, I don't pretend to know that much about the more esoteric part of this. I'm sort of a meat and potatoes kind of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you, what I can wrap my mind around. And and that's where I can contribute. But I can work with you on that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and I know that you and Tonya will be a dynamic team too in making panels.
Well,
it's great that Tonya's on here, but I think she's tied up right now. So I keep trying to unmute, and it's not unmuting. So Tonya, we love you. We know you're here. Thank you for being on the webinar. And if you can join us, please do. Please just jump in anytime.
Well, we're going to run out of time here pretty quick.
Yeah,
so anybody else have a question, a comment, a panel that you'd like to see written? We've had a number of people give us some ideas. And, of course, I'd like to write them, but I don't mind collaborating. That's good, too.
Okay.
When you talk about some of these products or some of these panels, the ones I've written so far are pretty straightforward and simple. But when you start to get into more difficult ones, and areas that require a lot of time and research, then it's nice to collaborate because you can take it apart and do it in pieces. You don't have to sit down and spend hours. The research is what takes time. And, you have to get into it. You have to go sometimes and read a lot of papers and go to different areas like PubMed or different places like that to come up with the newest and best thing. Like in this virus that goes on right now, they're finding that sunlight is a real benefit. Gilead, a pharmaceutical company, has possibly come up with some kind of benefit. Israeli firm has come up with something. Of course, there's the anti-malaria drug that is being touted, and other things, nitric oxide, heavy doses of that, by medical professionals. So a lot of different things are happening, and to sit down and try to go through all of it is very time consuming. So, we have to break it into little bits and pieces so I can chew on it.
Yeah. And also, arsenicum album, as a homeopathic, arsenicum album 30. I cannot get it anywhere. I mean, somewhere in my storage, I have to go and find my homeopathic medicating potencies because I know I have it. But apparently that's a very useful homeopathic in dealing with the coronavirus.
What is it, album what?
Arsenicum album 30C.
Arsenicum album, yeah. I may have some of it. I don't know. I have a lot of stuff in 30C, but I'll have to go take a look. Somebody was cleaning out a health food store one time and gave me a whole bunch of homeopathic remedies. And of course, people say, there's a time limit on those things. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that.
I don't think there is either.
I think they get better as they get older.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they'll last 100 years at least. Yeah. So that can be used prophylactically, apparently, the arsenicum album.
Yeah, you want to do. We don't want to get to the race after it started. So we want to do things in advance. Okay. So why the immune panel because we want to do it in advance. I mean, we use vitamin A, we use vitamin B, we use vitamin C, we used fulvic humic acid, we used kelp to activate the vitamin A. And Kerrin, you gotta help me. I can't remember what else I put in there, but it obviously is a fairly well known. Most of it is fairly well known and fairly well recognized.
Mm-hmm.
And all I did was add a few other things. I know I put selenium and iodine. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me bring it up actually, so we can take a look at it.
And I can give you, like, fulvic humic acid. Why would I use fulvic humic acid? Well, number one, the humic part of it is full of minerals, and most of us are lacking minerals. Also, it repairs. It's bidirectional. Okay, bidirectional antioxidant, so it can accept or donor an electron. The free radical. We call them free radical. They call them radical oxygen species, the professional people. And if you can, and that actually can burn the mitochondria, the wall, that lipid, the fat wall. That's the sodium potassium pump, which makes electricity in the cell. So if that's damaged, you're not making as much power. And if you don't make as much power, you don't feel that good. So you have to repair that lipid membrane. Yeah, that's called lipid peroxidase. And the humic acid and the fulvic acid can do that. The other thing is that they can gunk up, Kerrin, they can gunk up the virus. The virus does not replicate like a bacteria. It doesn't have a nucleus. Mm-hmm. And you could say it's not alive, but it replicates in a way because it injects its RNA into a cell, and then that cell will burst and release more virus. So if you can slow down the viral load, that's important. And if you can get in there and give trace minerals, all of them, to the body in a way that it can accept it, you've gone a long way to make everything healthier. So I put that in there for that reason. That's why that's there. The vitamin A, most people are lacking, particularly elderly people, because of diet and because of stresses of all different types, because of illnesses. And so we want to provide vitamin A, very important, and we want to activate it. So we're using kelp, because kelp has got iodine, and also kelp is full of trace minerals in another way that the body can absorb. So we could go through every one of those ingredients and tell you what it does, but it's just easy enough to go look them up. If you have a question, you know what vitamin C does. So what's the point? I don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
It saves a lot of time. Anything else? I guess it's time, isn't it?
I know. I've got the panel up on the screen so everyone can see it. It is. Thank you, Dr. Lou. And another thing I wanted to mention is heat. I mean, pathogens don't like heat, do they? And that's why our body, like when we do get sick and we have a fever, the fever is our friend. The reason we have a fever is the body's way of killing the pathogens. So if you have a sauna, use it. Do you have a sauna?
Yeah. We think a fever is a bad thing. A fever is a good thing if it doesn't get too high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's important to keep an eye, monitor. Do you have an infrared sauna, Dr. Lou?
Do I have what?
An infrared sauna? A sauna?
I don't have an infrared sauna. I have a far infrared, thing you can put over an area that's sore, mm-hmm. But I don't have a sauna, no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's, especially for the coronavirus, it does not like heat. So, mm-hmm. So that's a great benefit.
And that's another thing that I read in some of the information today is that it doesn't like sunlight, which is heat. So those things are now we're beginning to enter a warmer time of year. So this curve may flatten out.
Yeah, and then they're saying it may come back right in the fall, and about mandatory vaccinations. But I think we don't need to worry too much personally. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Lou?
Well, I don't know. You know, I don't get into whether we're going to vaccinate or not vaccinate. I'm not going to vaccinate.
No,
Me.
I'm not either.
So,
I'll go into hiding before I vaccinate.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. There's a lot of conspiracy out there, and a lot of reasons to believe some of it, and maybe reasons not to believe some of it. So I don't get too carried away with it. And myself, I think that as weather warms up, we're going to see the curve flatten out.
Yeah.
Whether or not it decides to come back in the fall, who knows? I can't answer that now. Sometimes they do, but we can't be sure. So there's a lot of research, Kerrin, being done now, alternatively, or by medical people, medical professionals, who are looking at other things that appear in many ways to be beneficial. So I don't know. You know, I can't say for sure, but you know, there's hydrochloroquine and zinc, and then a follow-up with some type of antibiotic just for any tag-along type of secondary infections. You know, might be the answer. A lot of people say. I don't know. Can't answer that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Lou, and thank you all for joining us, sharing, and being on the webinar.
Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Lou.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Did we
Dr. Lou.
decide on what we were going to, Kerrin, did we decide on what we want to talk about next week? It won't be anti-aging yet.
Not sure, but then I heard Tonya's voice. Tonya, hi.
Yes, I've been on in the last few minutes. I apologize,
Oh,
I couldn't get it unmute. But I agree with Dr. Lou, and we had a wonderful conversation the other day. His things on humic acid, fulvic acid. You know, I use a lot of Shilajit, vitamin A, zinc, everything I concur, and I'm so excited to meet you, sir.
Me too. It's a pleasure to meet you. We'll get into something. I'm trying to come up with a topic for next week, and I haven't decided what it is. Maybe it'll be sleep. Dr. Rich was talking about sleep, or energy. Dr. Rich was talking about that, I believe. And who knows? I'll talk with you and see what you'd like to talk about.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
That would be great. Yeah, I think you two are a very dynamic team, and I'm looking forward to us all working together.
Okay.
Yes, me too.
Thank everyone, and and Tonya, we got some good feedback on some of the things we did on nutrition. So I can bring you up to speed on that when I talk to you next.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, sir. Like I said, I enjoyed everything, and everything resonates. I lay on my biomat every night for at least 2 hours, just to help with the heat, what Kerrin was saying, and just because the virus does not like heat. So I figure if I lay on it every night for about 2 hours, I can keep the body well and stay out here and stay involved. So I can't wait to join with you, sir, and just do great things in biofeedback. I think it's the key right now. I don't think there's a better tool out there to have outside of supportive care, you know, those things that you mentioned.
Well,
but
you know, Tonya, my feeling is that we are going directly. Okay, well, I've said it many times, but we avoid the digestive system, we avoid the circulatory system, and we avoid the sensors on the cells or the receptors on the cells, and go directly to work in the cell instantaneously. So how much better does it get, you know?
Yeah.
You can't ask for more. Well, let's sign off, and you and I will catch up during the week, and I'll give you a heads up on what we talked about, and we'll come up with a topic for next week.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you both for all you do.
All right. Thank you, Kerrin. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Be well. Bye-bye.